Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking out my sister after she sabotaged a meeting with a fertility clinic? 8 years ago, my 29 female sister, 32 female, got pregnant. The father wasn't involved and my sister didn't want the baby, but she also couldn't bring herself to terminate or adopt out to strangers. She approached me and my now ex-husband and asked if we would be willing to adopt her child. We weren't sure, as we were concerned this would lead to issues down the line, but my sister insisted that it wouldn't, so we ultimately agreed. Before Lucy was a year old, my husband left us both because my sister lied about Lucy's father. When Lucy was 4, I got together with my wife, and we married last year. My sister has said that seeing me and my wife with Lucy, who is now 7, confirms to her that she made a right decision. When I first adopted Lucy, my husband and I told my sister that we wanted multiple children, which she said she was fine with at the time, but now my wife and I are looking into our options and my sister objects. My sister has been staying with us since July because her boyfriend kicked her out. She keeps asking Lucy if she's sure she wants siblings. Lucy has said that she does, and telling us she's worried we won't be able to give Lucy what she needs. And then today happened. We had an online consultation with a fertility clinic to talk about sperm donation. We told my sister about it and asked her to keep an eye on Lucy while we talked. The Wi-Fi went randomly on and off 3 times during the session, putting us out of the call each time. The 3rd time, my wife went to check it and saw my sister holding the power cord and Lucy trying to plug it back in. Lucy saw my wife and said, "Auntie keeps turning the Wi-Fi off." Wife plugged it back in, but we could no longer get into the session and we got an email from the doctor saying that if the Wi-Fi is going to be this bad, then maybe we should try a more local clinic as we can't do online consultations. When we confronted my sister, she admitted that she wants Lucy to be an only child, so she has 100% of our undivided attention, and then said in a sarcastic tone, "Forgive me for only wanting what's the best for my daughter," to which we responded that Lucy isn't her daughter. Things escalated until I said that my sister should go stay with our parents, and my wife drove her to their place. Since leaving, a few hours ago, she's apologized and begged to come back, and my parents have also asked me to take her back, but I've refused. They've all called me an a-hole for kicking my own sister out after one argument because now she's unable to get to work, no car and too far to walk, and she's back in her childhood room, while at our place, she had a studio to herself behind the house. Am I the a-hole? Now let's read the top comments. Info: Why did the identity of Lucy's father matter? My husband was concerned about adopting a baby because his grandparents are opposed to adoption. They want him, as the only male grandchild, to carry on the bloodline. And they could have prevented him taking over the family business, which was his ultimate life plan. So he said that if Lucy didn't look like she could be our daughter, then that was a deal breaker for him. And it was possible for us to keep up this pretense as we only saw his grandparents and extended family once every couple of years. My sister responded that the bio dad looked a lot like my husband, green eyes, blonde, Caucasian. And as my sister and I look very similar, it would totally work if he told his grandparents that Lucy was his kid, so he told them that I was pregnant with our child. Not the best idea, but I didn't know what he was doing until after he already did it, and they had this conversation about Lucy's appearance without me there. Fast forward to the birth, and Lucy looks nothing like him. Sister admits that the dad is actually Puerto Rican, with brown eyes and olive skin, which Lucy has inherited from him. But other than skin tone and eyes, she looks exactly like me. So the lie blows up in my ex's face, and everyone thinks I cheated on him. He then leaves because he can't take the amount of people who think he's raising a child who is from his wife cheating on him. Not the a-hole. She messed with the Wi-Fi and ruined a consultation that could have given your little family a lovely new addition. She ruined and delayed something that was important to your family. Call the clinic back and explain that the Wi-Fi problem has been solved and you'd like another consultation. Call the clinic back and explain that the Wi-Fi problem has been solved and you'd like another consultation. We've emailed, but we're waiting for a response. Not the a-hole. This is grounds for a permanent ban in my opinion, especially with the "my daughter" comment. OP, not the a-hole. Right, how can sister say I just want what's the best for my child when A, no longer her child, B, she didn't want the baby? The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter that she's being cruel by blaming her father for her insecurities about her looks? My husband and I have 3 daughters. They are all absolutely gorgeous. Our oldest, 19, and youngest, 13, look more like me, while our middle daughter, 17, looks more like her father. My husband definitely has more strong and unique features, but I find him incredibly good looking, which is why I even married him. Our middle daughter, however, has decided that her father is ugly, and by looking like him, so is she. I feel very sad that she's trying to compare herself to bullcrap beauty standards. Unfortunately, she's also been teased at school, and while we've managed to stop that, it hasn't helped the issue. Our daughter's problems with her appearance started when she was around 12, and despite therapy and us trying various techniques recommended by therapists, her attitude is unchanged. But it's really escalated the past few years when she started blaming her father for inheriting his genes. I have shut her down every time, but my husband just lets her blame him if I'm not around. Recently, my poor husband broke down in tears while we were in bed and said he felt really guilty that our daughter looks like him and that he can't help that he's ugly. He has never had issues with his appearance before and was always very confident. I was completely crushed. My husband also said that we should maybe look into paying for some of the plastic surgery our daughter has demanded. I disagree with that completely and we fought over it. The next day, I confronted my daughter and told her I understand she has serious self-esteem issues, but she's being cruel to her father. This triggered a meltdown from her, and she hasn't talked to any of us since. She hasn't left her room in nearly 2 weeks. She won't even eat unless one of us leaves food outside her door. My husband is gutted and is still blaming himself. Was I wrong to say what I did? And now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your daughter is clearly in the wrong here, and she's 17. She's old enough to start dealing with her issues, to be honest. I was expecting this kind of behavior from a 14-year-old. She can't change her appearance, but she can change her attitude. This is just a really toxic mindset to have. And worst thing is she is blaming other people for something they have no control over, and the dad is letting it affect him. I know why he feels that way, but he needs to accept it's something he had no control over. Agreed. This type of behavior is totally out of line for a 17-year-old. Having a meltdown at 17? She needs more therapy with maybe a new therapist who specializes in body image issues. 17 is actually prime age to have a meltdown. Teenagers are raging hormone machines with poorly developed frontal lobes. It's why they engage in so much risk-taking behavior. That doesn't mean that they can't understand right and wrong and regulate themselves, but the statement that this is out of line is pretty off base. Add in the fact that she sounds like she's being bullied at school, looks different from all the other women in her family, and was just scolded for her reaction to all of that, and it's not very difficult to understand her reaction. Therapy is a great idea, but also just giving her time to age out of this and realize that unique looks are not the worst thing in the world. And honestly, I'm so sorry that this is hurting your husband, but he also needs to remember she's 17 and likely doesn't mean what she's saying. It also doesn't really matter whether he's ugly or handsome. It's hard having masculine features as a woman, especially when no one else in your family does. No a-holes here. This is the right answer. Teenagers don't have the emotional intelligence to deal with all the new things they're feeling, and we all say stupid crap to our parents at this age. The father is an adult. He needs to take her with a grain of salt and put that girl in therapy to help her get over herself. Not the a-hole at all, your daughter is. With 17 years, she is old enough to understand that how she treats her dad is incredibly cruel. The prettiest, as well as the ugliest, attribute a person can have is the attitude. It's not exactly how the physical features of a person are, but rather how this person presents and handles these features. If she wants to have the surgery, don't stop her from it, but I would not pay for it neither. She can earn it herself. I don't know what she would like to fix, but she can manage to earn $3,000 in a year by working a couple of hours a week. Don't let your daughter treat your husband like that and give all your attention to him. Men also like to hear that they are pretty and gorgeous. I 95% agree with this comment. My experience is that at 17, you are old enough to know you are causing pain but not to understand the impact. She 100% knows she is bullying him, but it will likely be years yet until she understands that her parents are people who hurt like she does. She needs to understand that she is doing to her father what others have done to her and that they should both be confident and happy about how they look. Her attitude is causing both of them to be shaken. The last story is titled, Am I the a-hole? Sister's child broke my game collection. I demanded my sister to pay up. My sister refused and mom stood with sister. I threatened to sue with the help of my dad, and now mom and sister are yelling at me. Throw away for obvious reason. I am a 15-year-old boy. One of my hobbies is collecting retro video games, specifically the Wii and GameCube era. And fortunately, my sister is staying with us as well as her 5-year-old child. I have no problem with the child watching me play. Today, I woke up and checked on the collection and turns out my older sister gave my games, all of it, to her child. The child ended up ripping the discs and throwing my consoles, damaging them. I am utterly devastated as it took years for me to accumulate the games. I calculated the total cost as I had pretty rare games like Paper Mario, The Thousand-Year Door, etc. This was pre-corona prices, so my collection was worth $2,000 around eBay. I demanded my sister pay up the cash. My sister called me a bundle of sticks and told me to get over it and be happy that her stupid kid is happy. I told my mom and she agreed with my sister, saying I should be happy for her. I ended up calling my father and he decided we should sue mom. I told my mom. My mom does not want me to because she does not have that kind of money lying around. I told her I did not care. My mom said she would not be able to pay rent and her sister and child will not be able to stay. I told her I did not care about sister or her stupid child and I don't care about mom either since she is not supportive. My mom grounded me for my language. My sister is now demanding I let her child play on my Switch and 3Ds since he destroyed my game collection and her child has no entertainment as we don't have a TV with Good Kids program. I refuse and my mom has called me the C word and a video game W. She also called me flabby. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments of this post. Not the a-hole. Hope you can get your money back and start living with your dad. I live with my dad 80% of the time, but the court ordered me to stay with my mom 20% of the time because the judge said every kid needs to have a mother. The judge knew how bad my mom is. Then I would start moving most of my stuff into my dad's. Make sure it stays in your room and have a talk with him about how much your property matters to you. Info. Why was your collection over there if you're only there 20% of the time? I forgot the majority of the games were in my bag when I went there, which is my fault, unfortunately. Even then, I still expected my property to be respected. I am sure my sister would like her property to be respected as well. Not the a-hole. Get your money back. I'm sorry, I know it won't replace your years spent building your collection. Tell your sister to go kindly F off when she tries to get her hand on your other games. Leave them in the care of your dad or a friend. I put my other games in a safe box as well as my consoles. I put the key in my bag where my mom won't find it. Leave the key with your dad. I wouldn't be surprised if she searches your room for the key. Please do not let them guilt you. You have every right to be upset and get your money. I plan to leave my entire game collection and what remains of my GameCube and Wii. Luckily, the kid did not get to pay Luigi Mansion 3, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, as those were in my room, but those games are the only games that survived. And that's the end of our video, folks. Leave your comments and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.